I'm Tom Clark. I am the fourth of 5 generations on Clark Dairy Farms here in Delhi, and I am the current owner of the Bramley Mountain Fire Tower, which I currently have leased to Delaware County on a 100-year lease for $1. Well, my father purchased the Bramley Mountain Fire Tower. I'm not 100% sure why, other than my family, my uncle in particular, probably spent a lot of time there. Probably if you were to ask a lot of the boomers, local boomers, if you will, they probably spent a lot of time up there with my uncle because he took people up there all the time. He just loved to do it. And I guess when the state decommissioned him, he got it for $50, so I guess it was a bargain. And always thought it would be set back up on the farm at some point. Never did, but I guess in short, I really don't have an honest answer why it was truly purchased, other than we tend to be hoarders, so I guess he saw the opportunity and took it. I personally don't have too many personal memories of actually being on the tower before it was taking down. I was pretty young when my dad and uncle took it down. I do have memories of the days that they took it down, but not so much actually visiting prior to
taking it down.
Well, it was kind of an interesting story when they took the tower down. Dad purchased it for a song and a dance, basically, and there was a deadline that had to be removed. And in typical fashion, you procrastinate until, the 11th hour. And there was 3 guys. It was my father, my uncle, and a hired man that we had at the time, named Jeremy King. And the tower had to be down in a day or two. And as fate would have it, it was terrible thunderstorms, thunder and lightning. And I can remember at that time the cabin was still up there, so I was just running around there. I wasn't really doing much, but I can remember them running up the tower, taking out some bolts and letting pieces down, and then the thunder would come in, the clouds, and they'd have to run down the tower and run in the cabin and wait for the clouds and the thunder and lightning to pass, and they'd go back up and take some more down. And it rained at cats and dogs. I remember coming down off the hill. We had this whole thing loaded on a couple carts that we have here on the farm, and the water was just pouring down the road, and it was pretty intense. We crossed Hoag's Crossing with the tractor and wagon, and like I said, I was riding on the fender, which you can't do anymore, but and I can remember being kind of scared as we crossed Bramley Mountain because the water was coming across the road, and Dad drove right through it, which you're never supposed to do, of course, but we did. And that's probably the biggest memory I have, was the whole thing was just the weather. For the past 50 plus years, the tower has been stored here on the farm. When we took it down, it was all color coded so that we could put each piece back together where it came from, right down to the original nuts and bolts that were in it, the cab, the platforms, stairs. It was all there, complete. Map table included. It still has the original graffiti that was put on it. So anybody that's carved their name on it back in the 70s, you can come back and visit your tower. Well, the intent was to put the tower back up on the farm, but the main reason, I guess, is the time we talked to our insurance man, and they did not want to insure it. Several people in the past have approached to purchase the tower, some for personal use as a tower. Others, one guy wanted to put a windmill on it. There was one guy that wanted to purchase it and wanted to put it he was going to build a labyrinth and wanted to put it as an observation tower in the center of his labyrinth. So probably, I don't know how many have ever approached my father to purchase it, but personally I think I've had 3 or 4 different individuals try to purchase the tower. I held the tower for a long time. We wanted to see it, or I personally wanted to see it. If it wasn't going to be set up on the farm, I wanted it put back where it came from. I can't say as I'm a a real nostalgic person, but there was something about putting it back where it came from. And we can see it from the farm. I can see from up on the hill. I can look over and see Bramley Mountain. So I just kind of wanted to see it. And it's one of those things I like to look out and say, well, you know, that's mine.